This episode of Marijuana Today Daily is brought to you by our exclusive multi-state cannabis operator sponsor, Curaleaf, one of the nation's top vertically integrated medical and wellness cannabis operators. With 53 local dispensaries, 15 cultivation sites, and 24 processing facilities operating in 17 states. You can learn more about Curaleaf over at curaleaf.com, with Curaleaf spelled Curaleaf. That's curaleaf.com. Good morning, Marijuana Nation. It's Tuesday, April 7th, 2020, and you're tuned in to episode 910 of Marijuana Today Daily. I'm your host, Shay Gunther, and I'll be walking you through today's marijuana news and headlines. As always, we have a full and busy day of cannabis news in our hands, so let's jump right into it. We lead off the day, as I suspect we will be for a good while, with coronavirus-related news, as Kyle Yeager details the exclusion of marijuana-related businesses from participating in the federal government's recently passed relief programs. As Kyle's story points out, this not only includes companies that actually sell cannabis, but also folds in any business that is indirectly involved with marijuana. That means, for instance, my company, MJ Today Media, which publishes this podcast in addition to a couple of other industry shows, cannot apply for any kind of relief because our sponsors are, for the most part, cannabis companies. So marijuana packaging firms and design agencies and marketing companies are all out of contention for federal relief, as would companies selling pipes or vaporizers or even grow equipment. It's stupid, but I'm not surprised one bit. Swing over to Kyle's story for the full read here. Solomon Israel at Marijuana Business Daily takes us north for the day's second top headline, as Canada's federal government just announced a change in policy that will allow that nation's legal marijuana businesses to apply for federal relief from coronavirus business losses. Canadian federal policy had initially excluded marijuana businesses, which prompted a quick reaction by industry players who lobbied the government to modify its plans. There are a number of federal relief programs now available to Canadian cannabis companies. Obviously, if you're involved with one, you should be all over this news. Pop over to Marijuana Business Daily to read how a proper, civilized nation handles a global health emergency. Deborah Borchardt over at Green Market Report, who was actually just a first-time guest on our weekly show over at mjtodaypodcast.com, takes us out on our final top story today with a piece of fairly good industry news. As she has it, the U.S. Drug Enforcement Agency just announced that the marijuana-derived pharmaceutical drug Epidiolex, produced by UK-based company GW Pharmaceutical, is no longer listed as a controlled substance. Epidiolex was approved by the FDA back in 2018 for use by patients living with certain seizure disorders and should now be easier to prescribe and dispense thanks to its new status. That is, once states get around to modifying their own drug schedules to match the new federal standard. That will take some time. Another good one to read in full today. Those are our top stories for today. It's time for Marijuana Today Daily Headlines Blitz. Before we blitz out in headlines, let's quickly thank our sponsor, Curaleaf, one of the nation's top multi-state cannabis operators with 53 local dispensaries, 15 cultivation sites, and 24 processing facilities operating in 17 states. As the coronavirus pandemic has affected nearly every aspect of our lives, everyone at Curaleaf is committed to meeting the needs of their patients, customers, and employees. Curaleaf has been designated as an essential service in every state where it has dispensaries and continues to stay open using modified measures to reduce as much as possible the chances of virus transmission. That's why Curaleaf shops now offer exclusive early hours for older patient customers, as well as a new reservation system that lets you wait in your car until it's time to shop rather than inside with others. You can learn more about all the things that Curaleaf is doing to respond to the coronavirus over at curaleaf.com, with Curaleaf spelled Curaleaf. That's curaleaf.com. Again, huge thanks to everyone at Curaleaf for the support that helps us keep our news lights on. All right, time for the Blitz. We ease back into the news with a nice headline out of Colorado, where the state's Marijuana Enforcement Division has enacted an emergency rule allowing legal marijuana businesses to hire casino employees who have the benefit of already being vetted by the state while also needing the employment, as the state's casinos have been closed due to the coronavirus pandemic. Ben Adlin picked up on news out of Delaware that the state's medical marijuana companies will soon be cleared to start delivering to patients. The emergency allowance is wrapped up as part of Delaware's overall pandemic closings, details of which you can read over at Ben's story on Marijuana Moment. You can file this next headline directly into the Some People Suck folder, as a marijuana dispensary in Phoenix, Arizona has been warned by the state's attorney general via a cease and desist letter filed on Friday to stop advertising that it sells so-called immunization stabilizer tinctures, which the dispensary pitches as water you drink, quote, should you come down with a life-threatening virus, unquote. The Y Low Superstore has been advertising this super shady line of marketing on its website and could face fines of $10,000 if they don't take it down. That is some low character bullshit right there. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker's office just announced that the state was commuting the sentence of Thomas Franzen, a medical marijuana patient living with cancer who was serving 4 years in prison for ordering cannabis chocolates through the mail. Mr. Franzen will have to complete 2 years of parole, but went home yesterday to live with his father. According to a new poll, nearly 3/4 of cannabis consumers say they are getting high in order to deal with the stresses attached to the coronavirus pandemic. 73.7% of respondents said they were consuming it to address their stress and anxiety, while 40% say the quarantine has moved them to consume more cannabis than they usually do. This is a helpful bit of timely information and insight that is worthy of a full read. Zip over to Mary Jane to dive in. Multi-state cannabis operator Ianthus Capital Holdings is catching some headlines for a recent announcement by the company that it has defaulted on a $4.4 million loan payment that was due on March 31st. The repayment is part of a finance deal with debt holders who Ianthus was unable to renegotiate terms with. In addition, the company has formed a special investigatory committee to look into allegations that Ianthus CEO Hadley Ford has engaged in some maybe not fully legal activities connected to loans made by people who were then appointed by Ford to highly paid positions. Give this one a read for sure. We end the day with some not great news from the world of marijuana media as the High Times Holdings Company, which owns High Times Magazine and the Cannabis Cup series, is closing down the publication of 2 print magazines it's acquired over the last few years. High Times Holdings Executive Chairman Adam Levine told Marijuana Moment that the publication of Dope Magazine and Culture Magazine were both being halted due to difficulties in distribution. High Times also laid off a number of staff, including well-known cannabis writer Danny Danko. The High Times Holdings company has been struggling in recent years as it's failed to pivot into the new world of legal cannabis, and this economic hit from the coronavirus pandemic can't be helping things. Those are the headlines and news for the day. I'll be back with you again tomorrow morning with another information-packed episode of Marijuana Today Daily. But in the meantime, if you have any stories to share or feedback to give, zip us an email to headlines@mjtodaydaily.com. And while you're clicking around the interwebs, swing over to our website at mjtodaydaily.com to find links to all the news we cover. Thanks to our sponsor, Cureleaf, and to all of our awesome patron listeners for the support that makes this show possible. To join the illustrious ranks of the patron listeners yourself, swing over to our website at mjtodaydaily.com and click on that big blue button at the top of the page that says Become a Patron. I'm your host, Shay Gunther. Thanks for tuning in and starting your day with marijuana today.
One take, Shay. One take.